a while since I've done one of these on the performance, and I wanted to cover actually 4 weeks, so I didn't do it for um, 2 weeks ago actually. And so if you look at the returns from 213 to 3.2, March the 2nd, it was 4.5% versus the return of the S&P 500 of 0.67%. However, the last 2 weeks, especially with the war coming ongoing with Iran, which kind of threw a wrench into the models, which is very hard. I mean, it's something that doesn't happen very often, obviously, so it's very hard to predict and model it because it's an exogenous event and it's not really systematic. It could become systematic possibly, but it's not systematic. I mean, it's something that's actually being done by our actions, some of our actions that we're doing right now. So the impact was that my portfolio return was negative 5.16%, whereas the S&P 500 was negative 2.53%. Um, for the year, since the beginning of the year, the portfolio is at 4%, whereas the S&P 500 is at negative 2.09%. And then if you look out 12 months, the portfolio is at 30.98%, and the S&P 500 is at 19.61%. And again, this is not a race, it's not a sprint, it's actually a long, I should say. It is a race, but it's a long race. And and there will be times, there will be, certain weeks where my portfolio may not do as well as the S&P 500, but on average, and that is the goal, on average, we will basically be better than the S&P 500. And the goal is to be 2 to 3 times better than the S&P 500. And we are so far, well, quite better than the S&P 500. And again, as we continue on this year, on average, again, on average, we will do better and we will have a much higher return than the S&P 500. But this is where we are right now. And again, the models can't account for everything. There are certain things that can happen that can throw off the model and increase the variability that the model could possibly introduce into its evaluation. And this is one of those events that actually threw it off. And again, it's something that we can actually add some of the parameters of what's going on back into the model that will help it in the future. But this is where we are. And then for the next 2 weeks, the selections, let me just move down. These are the securities that that are optimized for the next few weeks. And on the right-hand side, those are the percentages, the allocation percentages of how much you should have of each one. Again, take a look, take a snapshot, and again, we'll do this in 2 weeks again. And